Here's Paddy Power's latest horse racing offer. It's money back as a free bet if your horse finishes second to the SP5 at one meeting every day this month. Paddy Power, you're welcome. Max free bet £25, 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
Welcome back, Bruce Millington, Paul Keeley, Johnny Ward, and from Paddy Power, Brendan Duke. We're looking ahead to Sunday's racing, 3 notable races at Leopardstown, and we'll tackle them in chronological order. At 2:25, the Amethyst Stakes, and we've got a British Raider in good old Custom Cut. Will the Raider triumph? Johnny Ward.
He might, even though he's probably established himself as being pretty ground versatile at this stage. The soft ground just might kind of convenience him more with the view to the others slowing down. But
I've got good on my running order.
What's that?
We've got it down as good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it'll probably not quite be soft enough for him ideally, but he's such a solid horse. Loves Leopardstown. I think he's going to give a very good account of himself. I think a horse that might go well at probably an each way price is Alphonsus. He's a horse who's been progressing nicely for the Masterful John Oxon. He's second to Washington DC last time, saw him go up a stone in the weight. So he'd be a tentative pick for me.
Let's hope the 8 all stand their ground so you can back Alphonsus each way. Kills, do you like anything in this race?
Yeah, I just think Custom Cut will win. I mean, actually, he's run to a racing post rating of 123 times in his life, and 4 times in his life, and 3 of those were on good ground. So I'm not remotely concerned by the ground. The last time he went to Ireland, he went to Leopardstown. He won pretty easily. He's run 2 crackers this season, so I think he's pretty solid.
Brendan, has the rotor been kind enough to give you Sunday off?
Certainly has.
So
Certainly
will you be there?
I will. Well, I mean, it's savage weather at the moment. Great drying out, so it should be a nice sunny day. Lovely, good ground. Yeah, be great.
Will you wear a necktie, or will you be casually attired?
Oh no, I don't actually have any ties. I put it to you, Bruce Millington, that the tie is the appendix of the fashion world.
I'm not sure about that. You
Totally agree.
You don't
Absolutely
own
agree.
a tie.
No.
You literally have no tie.
I have access to ties. I have 2 brothers. I mean, I could get a tie at a push if we're going out somewhere, Johnny.
Right. Would it be fair to say you've no tie but many ties?
Too good.
I'm amazed by that. You don't own a necktie. What happens if you got to go to a funeral? You borrow one, or do you hire one? Maybe?
No, I don't wear a tie. I wear a suit with a shirt. Sure,
tries to avoid funerals. He does. He tries to avoid funerals.
Are you telling me if you had to go to a funeral, you wouldn't wear a tie?
I don't wear ties.
That's poor. That is really poor, Brendan. I've been doing these podcasts with you for about a year now, and I've always found you an absolutely unblemished individual. But suddenly we've got something.
I absolutely agree. While I own loads of ties, I actually don't own a shirt that I can button up to the top.
Well, that's more your problem. You can't find a tie long enough to get around your bloody neck. 3 o'clock, the Derrinstown Stud Irish 1,000 Guineas trial. Johnny Ward, who's going to win this? And whoever it is, will it go on and do something amazing in the rest of its career?
No, it wouldn't be that sort of a race. I find this very, very difficult to have to say. Maybe another tentative pick for Radiantly. William McCreary's a fantastic trainer. I don't know if he gets enough appreciation in Britain as he should. He was a fine Gaelic footballer in his day, and he's probably a better trainer again. And Radiantly is a good tough filly by the late Aussie Rules, and Aussie Rules of course was the stallion of Faisalana, who's Willie's only Group 1 winner so far, and who won at Leopardstown when she won the Matron over the course and distance. But I like this Radiantly. She's very tough, and she just might be good enough to win what's a trappy race and will have no bearing whatsoever on the Guineas, which is usually the case in this race.
Okay, Kills.
I'd give Now or Never a shot, but without any confidence. I mean, she was second to Jet Set and finished in front of Alice Springs on absolutely bottomless ground. I don't know whether she'll want ground really fast, but it'd be a guess. It's not a race I'll be punting.
You got Fallon down for a great weekend. Brennan Duke, who will you be cheering on without your necktie?
Yeah, she certainly doesn't want fast ground an hour and ever, but it shouldn't be quick. So I'd say she'll run, and she should be good enough in what looks a boat race, really.
All right, well, perhaps there might be some more classic clues on offer at 3:35, the Derrinstown Stud Derby trial. Idaho, I think. Didn't Nick Watts put that up for the Derby this week, Kills?
He did.
Anti-Post Focus?
Yeah, I think he did.
He did, and he's one of 4 Aidan entries. So it's the old mass ranks from Ballydor. Who's going to win, Johnny Ward?
Well, this is the big thing. I had my idea that Idaho would be the horse to beat in this race, and Aidan just has thrown a perler here by putting Ryan on Shogun, who I didn't think had an outstanding chance in form. I thought he's a horse that maybe would improve for a bit further, and they obviously step him up in trip. But I was at the Curragh on debut for Idaho. He's a massive, big striding horse, and he then went on to run in Saint-Cloud. Slightly disappointing, but didn't run too badly. Came back in his reappearance on atrocious ground, really atrocious ground at Leopardstown behind Harzand, and pulled 7.5 lengths clear of Beacon Rock in third. And I think on the better ground, it can only suit this horse. I think he still has an outside chance at the Derby. And what we saw at Chester yesterday, it's rather muddied, the picture. He's a brother to Highland Reel. He's plenty going for him. He's a good attitude. And even though the fact that Shamey rides him is just a plus in the sense that, first of all, he's an excellent rider. And second of all, he's going to be a bigger price now.
Okay. Paul Keeley, what do you reckon?
Interesting. I mean, we're assuming that US Armour Ranger is still the number one. They've got to decide on who's going to ride the other ones at Epsom. So it might just be the case of let's stick Shamey on Idaho because that will be his ride at Epsom. Yeah, I thought he was the most likely winner in the race. So I was a bit surprised initially to see that Rydemore wasn't on him. But then when you think that they've got to think about plans further ahead and he's probably not going to be on him at Epsom, whatever, then why not put someone else on?
Good thinking.
What did we make of Chester yesterday?
Hang on a sec, we're coming to that. Let's just stick with this. Get the Derrington because we're going to have a quick Derby chat before we go. So who's going to win this race, Kills?
Yeah, Idaho. Yeah.
Idaho. And what about you, Brendan?
Well, one for the purists, this, Bruce, because 2 equine pin-ups, Idaho and Termitzi, are getting it on, and if one of them doesn't win, I'll be very disappointed.
Are they nice-looking beasts?
Very, very impressive. Particularly.
See, this is where I struggle. I think all racehorses look lovely. I think they all look the same. I cannot tell the difference between a good-looking horse and a dray horse.
Well,
Termizi's a cracker by all accounts.
Yeah, but really, really big scopy horse. Well, like a lot of Sea the Stars. But that's a fair point. But they are magnificent-looking animals, but some are more magnificent than others.
And who will be the one passing the post in front?
Idaho. I think Idaho will win this and win the Derby.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay. Well, you've answered the next question then, because I was going to say we had a tweet through last night that began exciting news, and it came from @Hugo Palmer. It said, exciting news about Galileo Gold. He's not going to go for the Derby. He's going to stick to a mile. I'm thinking, well, where's the exciting news? That's not remotely exciting. So everyone's got excited about this gene test, and that apparently has decreed that he can't possibly get 12 furlongs at Epsom. So we don't have Galileo Gold to consider. But Brendan, sticking with you, you believe Idaho will win tomorrow and then go on and do the business at Epsom, do you?
Yes, I just think he'd be a totally different horse on better ground. And I imagine the price he went off in the Ballysacks, I wasn't there that day, but the ground was a factor. Also, he probably wasn't straight, and he travelled so well in that race. He was much the best horse in that race.
While Keels tells us who he thinks will win the Derby, perhaps you could rustle up a show for us, Brennan. So go on, Keels, take it away.
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't got a massive strong fancy. I'm waiting for something to come through that really, really impresses. Now, you can't rule out something like US Army Ranger, but you can't get excited by 4-1 after, scraping home in a Group 3 race from a horse giving you weight. So, obviously he's going to improve dramatically. I'm sure Midterm is going to improve dramatically, but I didn't really rate the second going into that race. And, I think there's plenty to play for. I'll wait for the Dante. It's not a race I tend to punt in anti-post anyway because I'm a handicap punter. But, for me, I'm not that excited about the contest at the moment.
All right. Johnny, are you excited about it?
Yeah, it's a really fascinating derby this year. I think maybe more questions than answers from Chester yesterday. What was rather intriguing about Aidan at the Curragh on Sunday was we were talking about the Chester Vase, and he said that this US Army Ranger, he said he's going to be very, very green. I don't know how these bends are going to kind of work out for him, and obviously he was going there completely with a view to prepping himself for the contours and so forth of Epsom, and I thought he handled the track extremely well. And I think despite the fact that it was a hugely controversial race for obvious reasons, and he was little or no better than the horse that was second on the day, I think the fact that he cornered so well was slightly underestimated, and the fact that he was making his debut only a month ago, he seems to be held in high regard. The word I have from Ballydoyle, such as it is that he's their best horse, but I wouldn't put anyone off putting a little saver on Idaho as well.
Okay, how are we betting on the Derby then, Brendan Duke?
Well, minding with the run proviso at 2-1, 3-1 Midterm, 5-1 US Army Ranger, 10-1 Idaho, 12-1 Port Douglas, 14-1 the Gurkha, and 16's Bar.
There's absolutely no chance, by the way.
Yeah, none whatsoever.
This
I don't
was
even know
a
why you price it up.
media-generated conspiracy. I don't know where it came from. Probably some lad who, just a thought came into his head at Newmarket, because this will not happen and was never going to happen.
I think one of the odds compilers did it, and then the others fell into the line. That was all it was. There's nothing really in it, I don't think.
Well, that's fair enough. It's a copycat league. But no, we were also getting requests because I think she'd have run it last year when they were bereft of, I don't even think they had a horse at a single figure price. So obviously the scenario, the nightmare scenario is she wins and they have the second, who's a colt. They don't want that to happen. But I think if it had been last year where they hadn't got a single figure, hadn't really got a hope win the race, she'd have run.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. There could well be a filly running in a classic for colts from Ballydoyle this year, but it won't be minding. I shall leave it at that.
All right, well, before we go, I will give you the Derby winner, Port Douglas. Okay, thank you very much, Paul Keeley. Thanks, Johnny Ward, and thank you, Brendan Duke. Thank you for listening. Hopefully there were some winners within that lot. Join us on Monday when the panel, which includes the mighty Alistair Down, will look back on all the action.
The Race and Postcast in association with Paddy Power. They prize up all UK and Irish racing the night before.